This is T-Boz from TLC. You're listening to the X and Y Show. Hope you enjoy.
The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show, and I'm your host, Roosevelt. Well, it's been a couple of weeks, and I haven't recorded. So the reason for that, you guys know I'm trying to get the fuck out of Florida. So I'm not going to go through all that whole spiel again. So I had a few bites, a few encouraging things. I lost track and, I was preparing for interviews and stuff like that. And I couldn't record. So I apologize for that, but I'm sorry. You guys know I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. Not just a city, not just Miami, not just Southwest Florida, not West Florida. I'm trying to get the fuck out the state. And I'm born and raised in Miami. You guys know that. But this state is fucked up. And it was up to me. I would have been out of here before hurricane season. But here we are. So that's why I didn't record. I apologize. I'm really going to try to keep on a consistent basis. Because I do like podcasting. I've been doing this a long time. For those of you who have been following me a while. I'm not big like Joe Rogan, but I do have a following and I appreciate that. So I've been doing it a long time. I wouldn't have done it as long as I've been doing it if I didn't enjoy it. So I'm not losing interest in podcasting. It's just that real life is taking precedence over, podcasting. I'm really trying to, as I get older, I'm trying to be happier. And being happier is being somewhere where you're socially, pleasing. You're socially satisfied. So that's what it's about. And that's why I didn't record. So I apologize. But anyway, I'm here now. So because I didn't record for 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks, whatever it is, I'm going to do a double episode, a double release, I should say. So I'm going to release this one, and then we'll do another release Saturday. So kind of, catch up or whatever. Since I cheated you, I'm going to try to make up for it. So, and I got 2 good episodes that I'm going to talk about. So buckle up. So, there are 71 days until September 1st. And for those of you who have listened to the show, I love the bird months because the bird months are the beginning of the autumn into winter, winter is my favorite season. You guys know that. Christmas is my number one holiday. My birthday is in November, for those of you who want to know, so you can send me some coffee or some naked pictures if you're a woman. So I love that time of the year. It becomes a time of year when people are not as crazy. And it's a great time of the year, especially when you can share it with someone. If you're sharing it with someone, it's a great time of year. If you are alone, it's a terrible time of year. And I've done episodes. You can go back. I've done episodes around Christmas time. Different various episodes, the last 3 or 4 years. So go back and listen to them. I've always talked about this. So I'm going to, I've been trying something different. I want to talk about instead of talking about what's going on and I'm going to talk about how you can prevent that from happening. How can you prevent from being alone during the holidays? And stop singing songs like by the Emotions. What do the lonely do at Christmas? I don't want you to sing that song this year. So I'm trying to help you guys and gals out, X and Y. That's what the X and Y chromosome for you stupid motherfuckers. I'm trying to help you out so that won't happen. Because that is a bad time of the year to be alone. No one wants to be alone during the holidays. And it's not just the gifts, screw the gifts. It's just being together with someone, spending holidays with them, going to Halloween parties and Halloween get-togethers and Thanksgiving and Christmas parties and Christmas get-togethers, watching Christmas movies together on the couch with the fire going, on the bearskin rug and, just a Hallmark situations, just a bunch of Hallmark. And I got my Hallmark list ready, by the way. I'm going to be Christmas in July. I'll be watching Hallmark. Anyway. So my thing is, it's a really bad time of the year. I don't care who you are. Being alone during the Christmas holidays is terrible. And I'm going to try to help that or prevent that from happening for you. I think I have some good advice for you. I saw an Instagram video of a woman. I think her name was Vanessa. She has gray hair or silver hair. I don't know if it's natural or she dyes. I doubt if she dyes it silver, but some women do actually dye their hair silver. But I think hers is natural because I think she's getting away from dyes, but from what I gathered on her Instagram page. But anyway, I ran across her page. And, I usually don't give a fuck about what women, if they appear to be feminists, I don't give a fuck what they say. But this woman is not a feminist. She was basically emptying her heart out, basically saying that she was tired of being alone and she wanted to find someone to share her life with. And I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool because at least she was willing to say it out loud, what a lot of women will not say. A lot of women refuse to say. There's a lot of women that are miserable right now, but they refuse to say it. I don't need a man, and I'm happy without a man, and all this bullshit, when it's not true. And I'm not saying, a lot of women saying, well, no, I just need to heal myself. I just got out of a relationship. Okay, I can dig that. You just got out of a 5-year relationship and you want to take a year off, year and a half off to recoup, right? I get that. But 5 years off, 10 years, 15, that shit ain't normal. And your ass needs therapy. I don't know why a lot of women won't admit that they need therapy. And, I think that, there are men that are alone too. But a lot of men, it just happens that way. They don't want to be alone and they don't enjoy being alone. They would rather someone to share their lives with. Steady pussy. someone to talk to sometimes, not too much, but someone to talk to sometimes. They want to share. They don't relish being alone. But women do. Well, they want you to think they do. A lot of women say I'm great, I'm happy, I don't need a man to be complete and all that. When you hear a woman say that, and I've said this many times, back up. That woman needs therapy. She is not mentally stable. That is not normal to enjoy being alone. We're not wired that way. Humans are not wired to be alone. Now, like I said, if you're taking a year off, maybe 2 years off, okay, I can dig that. That's cool. Heal yourself. But 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that's 2 decades. And you're still alone and talking about you're happy and you're independent? Your ass is crazy. You need therapy. And a lot of women, the sad thing, they never get it. Those are the ones who end up as old maids, alone, and with 4 cats and 2 dogs, 2 birds, and that kind of shit. Because they are alone trying to get something through animals that they don't have with a human being. So this woman was just she was emptying herself. She was crying, and I actually felt sorry for her. Because I think she said she was 53, and she just wants somebody to share life with, just want somebody to love, and I felt what she was saying. I'm going to try to get her on the show. I'm going to try to talk to her. Her name was Vanessa, I believe. But, I just want, a lot of you guys, a lot of you think I'm be bullshitting when I say that kind of stuff, but women out there are hurting. And for her to say it out loud like that, I was very impressed. Because a lot of women, even that replied to her, I feel you and I understand and blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of women want to say it, but they don't say it, because they don't want to appear as being weak or needing a man. And I think that's a big problem. So, this episode is for the women and for the man too, because there are men out there alone. I have relatives I have a relative. I'm not going to mention his name, but nice guy. He has a nice job. He has a house. Doesn't do drugs. Drinks socially. He can't get pussy. And I think he can't get pussy because he's very particular on the women that he dates or wants to date. And I think that's his problem. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. For the men and the women, for the X and the Ys. I want to talk about different flavors of love. Different flavors of love. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of you have this, this notion of the type of person that you would like to date, right? A lot of women, tall, dark, and handsome. Blue eyes, all of his hair, got to be at least 6'4". I'm talking about the women. And you ask them, that's what they tell you. He has to be tall, he has to be 6'4", he has to be taller than me. Blue eyes, just nice head of hair, dark and handsome. Really chiseled face. All this bullshit that don't mean nothing. But that's what they tell you they want. And you ask them, does he have to be a white man? Oh, yes, he has to be white. Oh, he has to be black. Oh, he has to be Hispanic. And same thing with guys. The guys have a set criteria on who they are attracted to. Like my relative, he loves white women. He prefers white women, right? And And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's really he's cutting himself out of all other flavors. There's a lot of flavors out there in the world. And, when I hear people saying, oh, I only date this type. I don't date this type. You cutting yourself out of so many flavors that you might like if you taste it. You might like it when you taste it. How many times you go into the ice cream store? This happened to me. I think this is years ago. And I think I was in 31 flavors. I was somewhere. I don't know where I was, but it might have not been 31. I don't know what store it was. It was one of them ice cream shops. It wasn't Dairy Queen. It was not Carvel. And it was somewhere. It might have been one of them offshoots. But anyway, I went in, and I'm usually a butter pecan guy. Just give me butter pecan. If you don't have that, give me one of those pistachio nut. So this woman said, have you ever tried rum raisin? First of all, rum raisin, no damn raisins in my. But she said, it's good. I'll give you a little sample, And I said, well, it's free. I'll taste it. And I liked it. Now, it's not my top 5, but I liked it. I would buy a pint of rum raisin. Oh, yeah. And some of the ice cream have real rum in it. Yeah, it's very good. And I would have never known that if I would have been willing to try it. So my question is to you women and to you men. You say you only date white men. You say you only date white women. You say you only date black men. You only date black women, whatever the case may be. How do you know you don't like the other flavors if you never taste them? And a lot of you saying, well, I did too. I've dated other guys out of my race. I didn't like it. Okay, well, maybe it was that batch of ice, there's batches of ice cream that weren't good, right? Maybe he wasn't good or she wasn't good in that race, but maybe somebody else would be perfect. So my thing is, a lot of people are alone because of what they do and the choices that they make. They are not open-minded enough to explore other flavors. There's exactly 71 days left until September 1st, the bird month, right? That's when the bird month starts. 71 days. That is nothing. That's a little bit more than 2 months. And, after the Independence Day, you blink, it's Labor Day. You blink, it's Labor Day. So September 1st will be here before you know it. And, September 1st, that's when the bird months start. From September 1st until October-ish, that's when fall start to roll in. And, the Halloween and, the festivities of the season start around that time. And you should be in a relationship at that time. If you're not in a relationship, or at least a very friendly relationship, like you're fucking somebody by September 1st, then you're going to be the chances are you're going to be alone on December 25th. So this is the time to start to try different flavors. What do you have to lose? And I'm talking about myself included. A lot of times I do these episodes and you say, well, he don't know. What is he? There have been, I'm not attracted generally to Asian women. And it's not a knock on them or anything. It's just they usually are too little. When I'm fucking, I like to really do things, bend them people and, women in pretzels and, you know, do a lot of. I'm very innovative when I'm fucking. I just don't think Asian women could handle that, besides having a big dick. But I'm just saying, I just don't think that they could deal with it. But, that's wrong for me to say that. That is absolutely wrong for me to say that. So as I've gotten older and more wiser, and I got to admit, less stupid, I've been willing to try that flavor. I've opened my horizons to be open to dating Asian women, So I'm not just telling you this advice and something that I'm not willing to do myself. I'm doing it myself. I'm opening my horizons to Asian women. I'm trying that flavor. And I must say, I've tried that flavor and I liked it. I did. I liked it. I like the flavor. I would order it again. See what I did there? I would order it again. Just like I would order that rum raisin again. If you don't have butter pecan, give me that rum raisin. So yeah, I've opened my horizons to dating Asian women, not closing myself to just a certain particular of races. Now, I think about my life in the past on the Asian women that I've known and come across. And one of them could have been, who knows how many of them could have been my wife. But because my mind was so closed of not giving them a chance or not willing to try that flavor, I cheated myself out of knowing what could have happened. Who knows? Who knows what could have happened if I would have been as wise as I am now to be open-minded to have dated Asian women back in the day. So I essentially cheated myself. Now with other women, I'm open to black women, I'm open to white women, Hispanics. I don't give a fuck what you are. But I used to just cut out Asian women, but not anymore. So I've opened my horizons to more flavors. And I've never been one to care about height or, long hair and none of that. Now, I don't like the fake hair. I don't like that shit. I'm sorry. I don't like the fake hair. I don't like the knife edge nails, look like a vampire and shit. And I don't like the 10 feet eyelashes. That I'm not doing that. But a genuine woman, I've never been too picky, except for that Asian thing. And it was just, it wasn't because I didn't like her. I just didn't think they could handle me sexually. I just didn't think that. They looked little and fragile. I just didn't think they can handle me sexually. And that's what it was all about, really. So yeah, I was stupid, right? I admit it. I'm man enough to admit it. I was stupid. I closed myself up to a whole nother good flavor that I end up liking later. And I wish I would have tasted years earlier. So that's what I'm trying to communicate with you today. Women, all of you white women who, you just want a white guy, blue eyes. I'm saying test out another flavor. And some of you maybe have tested out chocolate. And, you didn't like it. Okay, well, maybe that was a bad batch. Try out another ice cream shop. You might like chocolate there. It's different chocolates. It's different qualities of chocolate. Or you might like another butter pecan or something, Hispanic guys. Asian guys, open up your horizons. Don't just say, I want a white guy. And same thing with the men. Don't just say you date black women if you're black. Open it up. Test vanilla. You might like it. And again, a lot of you maybe say, well, I tasted it, I didn't like it. Well, maybe it was a bad batch. Go to another ice cream store. There's different qualities of vanilla, right? Breyers tastes very different from Sanibel. What's the name of that damn ice cream? Damn, Sanibel. Homebell. Damn. Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. I forget. I don't know. But damn, I hate when I do that shit. As soon as I stop the episode, I think about it. That's why I need a producer. Hey, what's the name of the ice cream? But you guys know what I'm talking about. It's comes in like a bucket. Damn, Homebell, something, I don't know. But that vanilla is totally different from Breyers. That's all I'm saying. And those are totally different from Edie's. There's different qualities of ice cream. So just because you get one bad batch don't mean all of them are bad. Keep your minds open. You might be cheating yourself out of finding Mr. Right. You might be cheating yourself out of finding Mrs. Right. And I know a lot of you girls, well, I can't take Jamal home to my dad. Because, you know, dad will write you out of the will. You know, get out of the family. You're not coming to my house with Jamal. So you have to make a decision. A lot of you are in the third quarter already, right? So you have to make a decision. Your dad is not going to be your dad and your mother and your siblings. They're not going to be around forever. They're not living your life. So you have to make a decision. What makes you happy? Yes, you want your dad and mom and brothers and sisters to like your husband or your wife. Yeah, of course. But sometimes that's just not the case, right? So you have to make a decision. Your family or being alone. Because I know a lot of women right now, and they know what I'm talking about, they're listening, that are very attractive, beautiful women. And some of them are a lot older than me. And, you know, if they say the right things, they still might get me right now. And not because they're just beautiful. It's just because they're smart. They're genuine. They loving, intelligent. I mean, they're everything that you want in a wife. They're just older. And you think to yourself, damn, how did this woman, I'm talking about white women that I know. I'm talking about black women, right? And a few Hispanics, right? Nobody's exempt. And you ask yourself, how did this woman end up by herself? And now she's old, even though she's very attractive, very successful, and you know, she's very well off, and she has everything except she's alone, and she's miserable. And you ask yourself, how did this happen to her? And once you talk to them, and you talk to them, sometimes I've asked a few of them, and they tell me, I did like this guy, but I knew I couldn't take him home to my family. I couldn't take him home to my family. So now mom and dad have passed on, brothers and sisters living their lives, and they are alone. So, yes, sometimes when you test out different flavors, there are consequences. I'm not going to even lie to you. So you have to make a decision, right? You have to make a decision if you want to open your horizons and taste different flavors. You want to taste the butter pecan, the pistachio, the rum raisin, the chocolate, the banana. And a lot of you say, banana? Yeah, they do make banana ice cream. My dad used to buy that. We had to stop sending him to the store because he would always bring back damn banana. But it is not bad. That's another flavor. It is not bad. If you ever get a hold of some banana ice cream, that shit is good. Trust me. But I would have been willing to try that flavor if it wasn't for my dad, right? You had to be willing to try. We don't know what we like until we eat it. That's all I'm saying. Be willing to eat other flavors. There might be consequences. You can't take the chocolates and the bananas and the rum raisins and the pistachio home to your family. But you have to make a decision. Do you want to try different flavors or be alone waiting for the flavor that will never come? That's what you have to ask yourself. So I challenge you 71 days before the birth month starts, September 1st. White women, black men, white men, Hispanic women, Asian men, all races. All of you have your preferences. Oh, I only date Asian women. You know, you ask the Asian women, what do you date? That translates, she only date Asian men. That's what that means. A lot of you didn't think I could talk. See, I can talk Korean and all that stuff. I challenge you 71 days before September 1st to try a different flavor. I challenge you. And I want you all, and I know some of you say, oh, I would never, black women, I would never date out of my race. Oh my God. White women, I would never date a brother. No. So you saying that you would rather wait on the flavor that might never come, and you might taste another flavor and like it better, or you might find that you like it just as good as the flavor you were looking for. You might find that flavor in another ice cream shop. Who knows? But you have to be willing to try it. So I'm challenging both men and women of all races. If you're single, I want you to go outside of your norm of flavors. A lot of you only eat one flavor, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Who only eat vanilla? And the translation, only date white women. Like my cousin. It's a perfect example. He only eat vanilla. And he only date white women. That's his preference. That's his number one. So if he's listening, I want him to open his horizons, open up his mind, try a different flavor. That's all I'm saying. For everyone that is listening to this episode tonight, I challenge you to try a different flavor before September 1st and let me know how it went. If it didn't go that well, try a different flavor at another ice cream shop. There are different qualities of flavors. You have to open your mind to be willing to find love no matter what flavor it is. You're cheating yourself by looking for just one flavor. Your destiny might be someone from another flavor. How will you know if you never try? Anyway, that is the episode for tonight. I'm going to try to get Vanessa on here and talk to her. I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. That shit ain't pleasant. A lot of you women, I'm perfectly fine. And that's bullshit. You know, that shit ain't glorious. That shit ain't glamorous to be alone in your midlife. That's bullshit. So I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. I'm going to really try to get her. I'll let you know. I'm going to email her. And if she answers me, if she said yes or no, or doesn't answer, whatever, whatever. So, but I'm definitely going to try to get her on the show. But until then, I want you to remember my challenge. September 1st, send me emails, send me correspondence through Twitter. Let me know how it's going of you trying different flavors. Fuck what your family said. We're talking about you, your happiness, because your family won't be there forever. And you'll be stuck eating ice cream alone. That concludes this episode of the X&Y Show. Be sure to check out previous episodes. You can check them out on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. Be sure to send me suggestions on episodes you might want to hear. I really appreciate you all. And I will see you again Saturday, like I said, for the extended release of another episode for me missing the previous 2 weeks. With that said, I want you always to remember you cannot have love or lust without X and Y. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.